Hi, everyone, and welcome into the Lightbox. Yay! I am so excited for today. I've been wanting to do this video for literally 4 months, so I hope that you stay with me through this entire video. It might take me a good half hour to get through the information, but this is a very important video to help you identify unmarked gold and very early gold. So I'm not a specialist in pre-Columbian artifacts or pre-Columbian gold, but because of acquiring 3 pieces in my collection, I've now really kind of delved into greater information on pre-Columbian gold. There are experts that know so much more than me out there in the world, but I am so excited to share 3 different pre-Columbian gold items with you. So to start this, I would like to refer you, as I show you the first object, I would like to refer you to one of my past videos. And I think that the video, from my memory here, I'm looking because I wrote it down. I had this on my notes, and I usually don't write things down. Here it is. I just found it. This object was shown in a past video, so if you go to my old videos, there's a whole bunch more information on this specific sculpture, where I bought it, when I bought it, and the backstory to my feelings on this. And it was in the video titled, quote, "Get to know me and 4 of the biggest mistakes that experts have made." Okay? So to get further information on this beautiful gold effigy, you'll have to go back to that video because I'm not going to say much about how this came to me. I did go to a storage box auction or a lock box auction in Newark, Ohio, and I believe that the age of when I went to that, I think it was around the late 1990s, maybe 1998 or thereabouts. And like I said, I did a whole bunch of information on where this came from. What you're looking at is pre-Columbian gold. And in the video, I showed you the XRF breakdown or the analytics of the gold content of this. It had been grossly misidentified by an auction house in Cleveland, and they had said that it was French and bronze, and it's not French and it's not bronze. It is of, I believe it's spelled, let me get my notes again because I wrote this down, Muisca, but it's pronounced Muisca. Muisca, and it's Muisca. So that is the people that were responsible for making such objects. These are considered Tunjo or Tunho. You can pronounce it either way, but it's phonetically spelled, well, it's spelled Tungo. And I'll put all these spellings in the description. But this was only made to be an effigy that was then released into a lagoon. This was never body adornment. Some people would say that this would be turned into a pendant or an amulet. It wouldn't be. This is depicting a warrior figure. His earrings didn't cast fully. The mouth didn't cast fully. So there are some imperfections in the way that this was handled. Now, initially I thought this was loss wax cast, and now I believe it to be sand cast. I did a little bit of research on the technique that was used to cast pre-Columbian gold, and I was very surprised to know that they carved down into stone such as shale or obsidian to then make a mold that the golden alloy was then poured into. And why I love this is it was so beautifully modernist. And the date on this, I had it incorrect. I thought it was between 900 and 1100 AD. And more recently, I talked to a very well-known expert in pre-Columbian gold, and he gently corrected me and said in his mind, this was more 700 AD to 900 AD. So slightly earlier than what I had initially put it in at. But you can see the sprue system that was used, that the metal was poured into, that carved stone or that sand, stone mold, and then the metal was poured in and the object was then pulled out. Absolutely exquisite. Back in the day, I think that I paid $50 for this and for the other crystals and gems that it came with. And that's going on memory from a long time ago, over 25 years ago, and tens of thousands of things that I've bought. Finding pre-Columbian gold is a challenge and is very difficult, but it is out there, and this is physical proof that this does exist. I did go to the Cleveland Museum of Art, and they have a very large collection of these in their pre-Columbian section, and honestly, this was twice the size of the largest that they had in their collection. It's extremely large for its type. It is depicting the warrior, and I believe that is some sort of staff or atlatl, early atlatl, a beautiful necklace, fantastic depiction of earrings, even though that one on the right didn't cast fully. There are a lot of books on Muisca as a tribe of people in Colombia, current, Peru, Colombia, South America, and this weighs 53 or 58.2 grams. And I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly. It's very heavy. So just intrinsically in gold, it's worth around $3,085, around that, because the breakdown, as I showed in the previous video, which I'd love for you to go back, this was the breakdown in 3.4 seconds. It was broken down into the fact that it was solid 13 karat gold. It was 53.28 percent of gold, and then silver was 7.00, copper was 38.61, and the lead content was 0.83. So having lead in it was a strong indicator that this was not a reproduction. Plus the surface and the form and the way that this was constructed, every single person that I've asked about this has said it is authentic, pre-Columbian, and Muisca, and beautiful, and handsome, and fantastic, and in wonderful condition for what it is. So I wanted to share that for the first part of this video, and I would say its sculptural value is around $9,000. Some people could disagree and say, well, I think it's only worth $7,000. But I actually had an offer of around $11,000, and I did decline that offer just because I wasn't comfortable selling it for $11,000. I think in my heart of hearts it could be worth a little bit more, so that's why I'm holding out and not selling this just yet. And the $50 investment, what an incredible increase in price. So I'm showing you things that don't fit in. Look for things that don't fit in and take the chance. Even if you think this is brass or bronze or copper, please take the chance, because you might be pleasantly surprised. I've always said that the gamble is real, it's like a lottery scratch-off ticket, but slightly more predictable. So what I want to show you next is these pair of earrings. I've yet to show these on my channel, and the reason why I held out is I wanted to settle in with the information and make sure that what I provide for you is correct. These are senu, S-I-N-U, or senu, and they are pre-Columbian gold. These are 18 karat. The age on these, it's not quite as old as the effigy statue that I just showed you. These are considered false filigree. Now, filigree is an additive process that you solder wires together. These are not made in that manner. These are lost wax cast. So everything is done in wax, and then these are cast. So these are not fabricated. It's not like you took wires and gradually build up the surface with wires and then put braided wire in between. All of that work is done in wax and then cast as one piece. So these aren't an additive process. So what they term this is false filigree, meaning that it is completely hand fabricated in wax and then cast and finished. So these are earrings, so this would be threaded directly right through the ear, and they are absolutely beautiful. They are approximately 18 karat gold. I think they weigh around 29.9 grams, I believe, and each earring is so closely matched in both design and also weight. It's a remarkable thing that these were made by hand. I believe the date on these, I think the date on these was approximately around 900 AD to 1200 AD, probably closer to the 1200 AD on this specific pair. Higher karat gold, gorgeous finish. And again, I'm not an expert in pre-Columbian, but buying these has pushed me into that direction and has gently guided me into looking at things like this that are created this way. I bought these at an estate sale, and I'm trying to remember if I paid $600 or $800. I think I paid $600. So they knew that they were older and they knew that they were good, but they just didn't know how good. I found a pair online on a beautiful website that have a very strong provenance or ownership. And those are actually valued and priced at $23,500. I think that these are worth between $12,000 and $15,000. And I think I just made a mistake. They are priced at $23,500, and I think mine are about half of that because they don't have the provenance of an important collection. So provenance sometimes really drives the price. It's not taking anything away from these. And I actually found in the family's cataloging that these were sold at Sotheby's in, I believe, 1968. I think they were 1968. So I really appreciate your patience with me when I have the little blunders, because I don't, pause and re-record and edit the videos. I want to keep them pure and real. But I had to show you these, so if you find earrings like this, please look close and have the metal tested. There are no hallmarks on these whatsoever, so they're not marked with any sort of gold content, but that golden color. There's no mistaking when you see 18 karat, and look at that close up. I'll slow down for a little bit and let you take that in. To commit that to memory, look at the way that these are constructed. And, I highly recommend that you go online, because there are two really fantastic books on pre-Columbian gold, and this will be very helpful to you. There is an alloy in pre-Columbian gold that has a very high copper content, but there still is trace amounts of gold in the mixture. So please be aware that sometimes if they don't look this bright, they may still be gold. So always have your items tested and make sure that you know exactly what you're dealing with. Size on these, so that's about 2.5, almost 3 inches across. The intrinsic value on these, I didn't cover that, would be around $1,722 just in gold metal. And yes, I do think that these were sold through Sotheby's in 1978. So fantastic, wonderful false filigree. And again, a great buy. I took the chance, and I always say to people, these weren't cheap. These weren't inexpensive, but my intuition was buy them, and I'm so glad that I followed my intuition. The last one that I wanted to talk about is this one. Now, this is either severely cleaned or it could be a later reproduction. I've had this looked at a few different times. It was set as a brooch, so it was set in 14 karat gold. And initially, when it came to me, I did think that it was authentic pre-Columbian. This figure does test between 14 and 15 karat. So it's between the two. It is that same feeling of that first Tunjo that was Muisca. So I would say that this is likely Muisca, and if it is, it would probably date around 900 AD. It could possibly be a recast, or, like I said, completely stripped, acid cleaned, and that's what's causing the surface to look so new. However, this person thought very highly of this because it was so carefully custom set in a 14 karat gold custom mounting. That little guy would have been on a much larger sculpture. That would have never been, I don't think that small. I think he would have been standing on another figure and then broken off because there is a raw edge on the feet. as if this had been on something much, much larger. So that's a strong indicator that this is most likely, I'm 75% sure that this is genuine. Why I leave the 25% unsure is because I always want to check and make sure that I have everything 100% correct before I sell or before I price. So this in gold, I don't know if I worked this one up in gold. I think this is 13.6 grams. So intrinsically, I didn't calculate that according to today's gold value. Gold has been so volatile as well, but pre-Columbian gold is such a steal. To be that old and to have survived that long, I say that pre-Columbian gold is very undervalued. It's not fashionable. You wouldn't see people running, to buy this. You could see someone running to buy an 18 karat gold contemporary Italian bracelet. This, to me, has much more artistry, has much more history, and is, to me, much more sacred and much more desirable for the technique of these early people, to construct these pieces. Incredible. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the fact that what you do is you start with the gold test. So you just make sure that you have the correct gold alloy. So I will test this and see if it comes to a breakdown much like this that gave this information that then certified with that trace amount of lead that my earlier figure was completely authentic and old. You also look at the design of the pieces. You look at the aesthetics that were used, like in that earlier work. So this squared off headpiece, this angular face, the coiled earrings, the spiky collar, the atlatl, this kind of basic human form here. You look at where the recesses are and you look and you see that surface, it's taken a long time. So look for authentic patination and oxidation of the surface. So even though most of the pieces were either sand cast or lost wax cast, there are glaring similarities amongst these items that then authenticate the fact that they are genuine and they are old pre-Columbian. So I'm trying to help you decipher, how do you settle in to know what is authentic and what is not? Oxidation on a surface. Look for the fact that there's no restorations or resolders. Now, if there are restorations or repairs, as long as they aren't, let's say this was a new piece that was cast new, and then someone artificially broke this off and then resoldered it to make it look old. They will do repairs, contemporary pieces that make them look old. That's a sneaky way to make someone think that they have a pre-Columbian item that's not, genuine. So look for restorations or repairs. This is just an incredible educational, dip your toe in, and I hope you would look for other videos. There is a gold museum in Bogota, Colombia, and they have over 50,000 gold artifacts like this. I think they only have around 7,000 on public view, but they have so many, and it's from 8 or 9 indigenous groups that lived in South America. So I would highly recommend, if you want to go on a wonderful and rich vacation to see the treasures of Colombia, go to that museum. I would love to go. As to values, just remember there's huge swings in the values on such objects just because of the price and the intrinsic price of gold. So I'll lay all of these out for you to see one final time, and I thank you so much for joining in today. I wanted to get this done, and I tripped over a couple things, and it wouldn't be a me video if I didn't. Let me do this and position this a little bit better, because I have to get a great thumbnail for this video, and I appreciate your patience with letting me obtain that now, so I don't have to do it after. So those are the objects, and again, please look at form and the way things are crafted. Take the chance is what I always say. I just feel that there's so much to learn, and the only way you learn is by taking the chance. What's the worst that could happen? You make a mistake? If you make a mistake, you just don't make it again. That's the only way that I personally learned. I didn't have someone following me around and telling me not to buy things. I didn't have someone, telling me that I shouldn't take a chance. It was the opposite. I had some sort of other sense and almost like an angel or a guide on my shoulder that would sometimes tug on my shirt sleeve that would say, hey, look at this, or hey, look at these, And at the estate sale, no one looked at these earrings. They just didn't look at them because, well, they're not wearable, and they were slightly more expensive than what they wanted to spend. Same thing with this little guy. They just didn't understand it. And it survived the estate sale, and I'm so glad it did. So I leave you with the information that this was specifically supposed to be on pre-Columbian gold. I hope I gave you enough information and you're encouraged to go out and do more. And when people have asked me, the one thing I forgot, when people have asked me, where did these indigenous people find this gold? Well, it was in alluvial deposits in the riverbeds and streams of the foot of the Andes Mountains, which spanned over 4,000 miles in South America. So that's where these people were finding those gold nuggets that were then turned into these sacred and beautiful artifacts that survive to this day. So remember, even at, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old, these things are sacred and should be revered and should be saved. So I highly recommend get out there and look. I can't stress it enough. Take the chance. And then please, when you're shopping, listen to that Jason voice. Listen to that Jason guide and take the chance because, as you can see, it's totally worth it. So I will leave you with that today, a very quick video. I told you I'd make it fast and easy. I hope that I gave enough information. I hope I didn't trip over too many things. And you all make me so happy. The amount of people that have recently subscribed, thank you so much. And I just ask for a big favor. Anyone that you think that would enjoy this channel, please don't hesitate to share me out. Tell your groups that you go to. Tell your social groups that you go to. Tell a neighbor. Tell a friend. Tell one of your children. Tell someone that would, be interested in the information that I provide. I try to make it user-friendly. I try to keep it real. I try to keep it honest and transparent. Again, for value, you can see why I do these and why I share this information so that such things can be saved and such things can be revered for years to come. So I thank you for protecting our history. I thank you for protecting our world in a way. And we're better for it with art that looks like this in our lives. You know how I end this because it's true. I love you because I do.